So I had been in LA for about a month. And, I had one of my early clients, a guy named Victor's son. And he goes, "Hey, you don't really know anyone in town, do you?" I went, "No." He goes, "There's a birthday party tonight for a guy named Harley something. He was a big director, producer, something back then. And look up the movie, if you don't mind, maybe Cliffhanger, maybe the one where Stallone played a race car driver, one of those."
Oh.
That was around that time. And this guy, I want to say Harlan.
Cobra?
I don't know if he did Cobra.
The movie?
No, look up the movie where Stallone plays a race car driver. It wasn't Rush. I don't know what it was called.
It's not Driven, is it?
Yeah, look up Driven. Who was the
Driven.
director? Who was the director of that? Like Harlan or something. Rennie Harlan.
Oh, Rennie Harlan. Yep.
Okay, pretty famous guy, right?
Yeah, he was married to what's her name?
Yeah, of course. Look at you doing me with the what's his name.
I'm turning into you.
Yeah.
Now that it's 10 years later, I get this brain that you have.
Right. So I walk in. So this guy goes, "Hey, I'm inviting you to Rennie Harlan's birthday party." And I'm like, "Okay, where is it?"
You're like, who him?
It's on, I knew I had heard of him. I knew who he was, but it's like, all right, where do I go to his house? It's like, no, there was a place right on Sunset at Doheny called the something one, right? Everything was like on Sunset. It was called the One Club or something.
Gina Davis. He was married to Gina Davis.
Gina Davis. Okay.
It was a big story back when I was young. Yeah.
All right. So here's the deal. Okay. How do I just walk up, give them your name? Your name will be on the list.
Okay.
All right. So I don't even know how to dress. It's like I'm in Hollywood. I dressed, I guess I didn't feel out of place. I guess I dressed appropriately. And I go to this party. I walk in, I walk up to the thing. There's a guy with the clipboard with the thing in his ear. We're talking 1990, 91, somewhere around there, 91. And the guy goes, "Hey, what's your name?" And I'm like, "Vinnie." "Yeah, go right in." I didn't even give my last name, just Vinnie.
Wow.
I walk in, and as soon as I walk in, first person I see, like standing right in front of me, Mick Jagger.
What?
Mick Jagger.
Are you like,
I'm like, oh, fuck. This is not
not a regular party.
Yeah.
This is not like the parties. This is not you're not poaching on blue ice.
Right. I'm not doing a poaching, and we would have to explain what that means. But it's like I'm not in Kansas anymore.
No.
I walk in and I'm staring, and then I went, "Oh, geez, I can't stare but that's one of the greatest rock and roll frontmen of all time, standing right in front of me."
Mm-hmm.
And that's when he was married to the big, tall bombshell,
Jerry.
Yeah. And
What's her
she's
name?
there, and she's like 10 feet tall. And yeah, it was like being at like one of these, I don't know, wax museums. I'm like looking at the real Mick Jagger. Wow. And then look, I could go on and on. It was like a who's who at this party, because at the time, Rennie Harlan was like the guy in town, and everybody wanted to work with him. So
he was like the action movie director.
Yeah. And everybody was there. Right.
Yeah.
I'm there for about 20 minutes. This was back in the days before I drank or anything. I didn't even have a drink. So I just got myself like a spritzer of, some kind of water, and threw a lime in it to make it look like I was having a drink. That was my deal. I turn around, Stallone sitting there. But Stallone, I want to say this is before he met Jennifer Flavin. 1991. Was he with Jennifer Flavin? No, he couldn't have been. There was no wife with him at all, but there were women. That's why I want to know if he was married at the time. It could have been, there were women there, but there was also, he had some Goombas around him.
He's got to have an entourage. He's Stallone.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. He's got the Goombas around him.
It would be weird if it was just alone at a party. You'd be like, that doesn't make sense.
So just like you would see like on the screen, I approached the table and one of the Goombas, he goes, "Yeah, what can I do?" And I said, the only thing I could say, I'm a big fan of Mr. Stallone. I'm a Sicilian. I'd just like to shake his hand and say hi. And he goes, "Hey, Sly, this is one of yours." And, and he goes, "Do I know you?" And that kind of thing. I was like, no. I said, "I'm a big fan. I just told you, Guy, we're Italians. I just, just wanted to say hi. Big fan." And shook my hand, that kind of thing. It's like, that was me meeting Stallone. I never had a problem with,
That's awesome.
It's like, hey, I'm a big fan. I said the exact, Serena's always said this about me. I know exactly the right thing to say, even though I didn't have any game plan. I just saw Stallone and, I just like, a moth to a fire. I just went, that's Stallone.
You have to, yeah.
I must go say hi to Rocky.
Right.
Right. I need to go say hi to Rambo.
But that's a good I mean, see, Lauren thinks the same thing, but then he has that that writer thing where he's like the neurotic thing where he's like, well, I can't just go talk to him. Like, yeah, you can.
No, I just walk up to people and go, hey. And I think that's why I was able to do so well with celebrities in Hollywood early on.
Sure.
I was never starstruck by the celebrity.
Right. Because you feel that, let's take an energy that comes off of people, and by the way, I'm going to tell you an amazing Stallone story at UVA. So, but like that, I remember one time we went on a road trip. We went from San Ynez up to Big Sur, with Andrea and Matt when she was dating Matt. And you forget,
folks, for all the new people, she's talking about Matt LeBlanc.
You forget, like,
an actress, Andrea Anders.
You forget that, he's a famous guy because he's just your friend Matt, right?
Yeah, and he's Matt. Yeah,
he's Matt. And then you walk in the thing, and people they were losing their minds. We stopped at Cambria, where you gas up that last trip before you get on the one, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "Oh, what, him?"
Yeah.
I mean, he's great, but no.
Yeah, really.
You know what I mean?
If you really knew the guy, yeah. That kind of thing.
I mean, he's just a normal guy. He's honestly one of the most normal guys I've ever met. He just has $1 bajillion trillion and is crazy famous. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
We always make a joke that he shat diamonds. Like, he's just
Matt LeBlanc. He had a pretty incredible career. Now,
yeah, he's been really lucky. But I have to tell you the Stallone UVA story when you get a second.
Okay. No, go on.
Okay, so my best friend in the world, my oldest, dearest friend, Haven, went to UVA.
Yeah.
So we were there from 91 to 95. We both graduated in 95. I graduated from Emory. She went to UVA. Now, this is not an Emory Tulane conversation. It's obviously that UVA is a far superior school to Emory.
Except Tulane is a far superior school. But go on. I don't want to break up the story here.
Okay. We'll let you and Tallulah work that one out.
Yeah.
I think it goes UVA, then Emory, then Tulane, and that's what everybody agrees on. So
if you want to, I mean, you can say that if you want to be wrong about something.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
The only thing I'm wrong about is that it goes UVA, Emory, and then a bunch more, and then Tulane. That's what I'm probably wrong about.
I'm going to say one thing. Did Emory win the Cotton Bowl this year? No, I don't think so.
No, Emory will win 0 bowls this year.
Okay. That's
approximately 0 bowls in any year.
How did UVA do? Oh, yeah. They were the only team that threw a pick 12 last year. The first 2 plays of a game, it was 2 pick sixes. They literally started a game with a pick 12. It's never been done in history, except, they ain't got a Cotton Bowl. But all right, Anna, whatever you want to say about Emory and UVA, knock yourself out. I'm good. I'm good.
I don't know if Stallone had a kid at UVA but he was in Charlottesville or had a house in Charlottesville and was there quite frequently during this time period. And so was Sam Shepard and Jessica Lange when they were married. So it was cool to I would go visit her at school and then we would see, I was like, oh my God.
Some of those people, there's a lot of celebrities here.
Yeah, there are. It's a beautiful place to live. Yep,
Sissy Spacek around town.
You would see her. Yep.
The other one, The Rock. The Rock has a place here.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's got a place here.
I was not there for this, but Haven called me freaking out after it happened. They're at this bar called Coops, which was like the bar at the time that you would go
Right.
to, where they wouldn't card, they would serve everybody.
Right.
Thing is about UVA, people there are really smart and they also really party. Like they're very good at it.
Yeah.
Like, top level, A level, 5.0 GPAs who
Oh,
can party.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I raised one of those.
yeah, exactly. So they're at Coops and Stallone is there in the bar. And they're like, oh my God, we have to go talk to Rocky. We have got to talk to him. This is probably 92, 93.
Yeah.
And they were talking to him and, oh, how you doing? You know, talking. And then they were like, well, what do you think of UVA? You know? And then Haven says, Thomas Jefferson's masterpiece, which I was like, that's a dumb thing to say. Thomas Jefferson's masterpiece. He goes, oh, it looks like a giant red pizza oven. And she's like, okay. Thomas Jefferson's masterpiece looks like a giant red pizza.
Yeah, but you know, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong. That's the thing. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And so now that you live there and you love Sly so much, I figured you'd appreciate that story.
Well,
that he says UVA looks like a giant red
Sly
pizza.
finally got his correct role in this
I
Tulsa King.
this is the role. Is it good?
Yeah. And by the way, Anna, don't turn it off after 2 or 3. It builds because
it's a series.
It's a series that
it's called Tulsa King.
Tulsa King, and it's by the same guy that does Yellowstone. You know, it's that same company. Because look, let me tell you how much of a slow burn it is, Anna. One of the stars of the thing is Dana Delaney.
Right.
They didn't even bring her in until like the 4th episode. And when they brought her in, it was for like 10 seconds or less. And the whole time I'm sitting there going, Dana Delaney is a named character, a major star in this. And it's not until like the 6th or 7th episode where she's actually got more than like 2 lines. That's how slowly they bring you along with this.
Right.
It's getting better and better and better. It's up there. You will like Tulsa King. And it's the role Stallone should have been playing his whole life. You know, I get it.
That's great. Okay.
He had the body and everything. He was playing all that other stuff. But sometimes you can't get out of your own way. And now he's doing a really good job with this. Bunch of things here, Anna.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about.
I want to start by thanking 2 people.
Okay.
I want to thank Debbie Tortorich.
Oh, yes.
And Leona.
Yeah. You're talking about the hats.
Yeah. Here's the deal, guys. Leona put together a hat. I have the hat on right now. Leona did the original hat. We did it in blue. It's a real quality hat. And we did it and we sold like a few hundred of them. And
I think at least 250, maybe
not
something
like that. Yeah. Somewhere
like there, like a good amount.
And, you know, look, we don't advertise these things or anything. And we take the money up front and then we hand them out. And then people wanted more hats. So we said, okay, since we said that the first one was limited production, the only thing we could do is come out with another color. But we came out with 2 colors. This kind of gunmetal gray that I have on and the orange. The gunmetal gray was Debbie's idea. And the orange was my idea. We sold double the gray that we did the orange.
Yeah, I can see how orange wouldn't be for everybody, but I love that color.
But here's why I want to thank those 2 women. First off, I love the design that Leona did. But more importantly, she and Debbie, it's a tireless effort to take the orders, to curate all this, to order the hats, to do the whole thing. Folks, this is not a money maker for me at all. Because by the time it's all said and done, the fact that I don't owe money, the fact that I come out just on the plus side by a couple $100 by selling
which then you have to pay Leona and Debbie to get it all done.
Right. Yeah. And
yeah,
you know, but the only reason we do this, someone said to me the other day, why would you even do that? And I said, because it's a morale builder. And I like to always think of this podcast as being the little engine that could, right? And, you know, if getting a hat and being part of a small club and the morale and everything else, and people see me wearing the hat and they see you with the hat and everyone, we become like our own little.
I want an orange hat.
Can you call Deb?
Lauren took my hat that you sent.
Do me a favor.
Debbie, send me one. I'll
Yeah.
buy it. I'll
All
pay
right,
for it. I
Debbie,
don't
I'm
care.
telling Debbie right now. She was supposed to send me 3 more
Debbie
oranges.
has a lot to do.
I want her to send you one of my 3 oranges. So we'll make sure you get it happy, because we only literally order what people will take.
So you pre-order, then have made the amount. That's what I do with the limited sauce flavors,
It's
because
the only way to do it.
you don't want to carry a bunch of inventory, and then you're like,
yeah, you're sitting on inventory on something that you don't make money on, and it just becomes a lot of work for everyone. So I just want to thank those 2 women for their tireless effort to give those out, because it's nothing more than a morale builder around here. The next thing I want to talk about is goal setting a little bit.
Okay. Can I, since we're doing shout outs, can I interject first with some shout outs and then you do goal setting?
Let's see. Let me think. Okay, go on.
Because these are people that you may know because they've done consults with you, and they came up to me at the fancy food show where I just got back from. Matthew, and I can't remember his last name. He's adorable. He said hello. He's done a bunch of Matthew Guerra, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Consults with you.
Guerra. Yeah. Know who he is.
He's great. And he brought his mom over. They work for this family business, importing awesome Italian food, or at least he does other stuff too, but it was just great. So shout out to Matthew for coming over and saying hi. A woman named Nicole stopped by, and there were more people who stopped by. And I thought it was really funny how they all.
Do I know Nicole? Like, does she have a last name?
She listens to the Adam Carolla podcast. So when it came up, you know, I podcasted Vinnie Tortorich, and she was like, you know Vinnie Tortorich? And I was like,
yes, I'm kind of a big deal. Yeah.
You know Vinnie Tortorich because of me. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, it was really nice to hear all these people stop and say that they loved you. And I just wanted to give them a shout out. And it was more people that I can't remember their names now. I feel like I tried to write it down as I was doing it, but then things got so busy. And then one more shout out, and I can't say this, but this was very telling. These 2 young women stopped by the booth, and they said, we have your cookbooks and we love you so much. And I was like, oh, that's so nice. And I talked to them for a little while, and I looked at their badges, and I was like, oh, their company looks familiar. And then they walk off. They're a competitor sauce. And they had told Matt that they like my sauce better.
Really?
I know. And I was like, they're like, we love her. We love her books, and we love her sauce. And I was like, oh, that's funny. And I'm obviously not going to say who the competitor is.
No. Well,
but I just thought that was really, I was like, oh, that made my day. I was like, that's awesome. That was one for me. You got a bunch, but I got one really good one.
Yeah. But here's the thing. And before I get into goal setting, last night, Serena, I walk into the kitchen. It reminded me of my grandmother. She had a big giant cookie sheet with meatballs rolled up on, and people go, how do you make your meatballs? With meat. There's no filler in our meatballs. We just take ground beef.
Yep.
We roll them up. We brown them, and then
and drop them in sauce.
So so I see this big cookie sheet, and I mean, it's got to be 2.5 pounds worth of meatballs in that, maybe 3 pounds. It's that many. And I had a bit of an erection, but then I got over it. And then I had to do 2 Friday shows last night. So, 2 Friday shows, that's 3 hours for me to do. Record for an hour. I have to upload. I have to do all this stuff. And then I record another hour, upload, on and on and on. So I go upstairs, and there's the big blue pot. What do you call it? LaCroix?
Le Creuset.
Yeah. There's the big blue.
That's what I make. I'm tired of my Le Creuset because I photographed about 100 different soup recipes in it. So yes.
Yeah.
But I love it.
As a matter of fact, Serena was telling me that blue pot, she says, I've had that since my 20s.
Yeah.
That thing is still like brand new. So it's the pot, you can put stuff in and you stick it in the oven, you do all the stuff, and all the stuff.
It's enamel coated cast iron, for those who are wondering. It spreads heat really nicely, and it's perfect for soups and stews. And
they apparently last a lifetime.
Yeah.
So I see a big blue pot up there, and I take the cover off and ladle it on top. So it's the meatballs are in there. Yeah. They're swimming in one of your, I don't know which one it is, but one of the Anna Vocino sauces. At the time, I don't know which one it is. Right. And on top of that, it looks like a pizza. It's just this layer of different cheeses, white cheeses. So Yeah, and
That's so good.
Turns out she took my really good Reggio Romano, and she took my really good Parmigiana and grated that on there. And then she put a third cheese on there. I don't know what the third one was. And it was just, again, the erection returned. And it was just, it was unbelievable. I put more in my plate than I thought I would eat.
Mm-hmm.
And I came down here because I was still sending podcasts off. I ate the whole thing. About 20 minutes later, I went and got another 5 or 6 meatballs.
Wow. You were
probably,
hungry.
oh my God, I hadn't eaten all day, Anna. And it was your stuff. It was Anna's gravy, folks. Go get the stuff. That was not an ad for Anna, but go get her stuff. Hey guys, wanted to just break into this show and let you know right now at purevitaminclub.com, you can save 20% on your next order through the month of February. Even if you're getting a new subscription, 20% off. It's a one-time deal. Promo code Vinnie, Vinnie, will save you 20%. Promo code Vinnie, Vinnie, no wimpy Y, 20% off right now at purevitaminclub.com. Now back to the show.
Thank you. Do you remember what flavor it was?
It turns out it was
it spicy?
It wasn't the
puttanesca goes great with meat. I call it stutanesca because I put it on meat and it's great.
Yeah. So it was so good. I love the putta.
Great. Goal setting.
So as everyone know by now, new people have come on.
I'm eating my chicken parm soup.
Enjoy. I believe in setting goals. And
same.
I know people go, oh, come on, then you exercise all the time. But I always say, if you don't write these things down, if you don't visit them every week and stay on top of them, that's why people make New Year's resolutions, and 2 weeks down the road, those things are out the window. I start working on this stuff in the last month of the year. I start jotting, and by the way, I jot down a lot more stuff than I do. I jot it all down, and then I go back and visit it. I know this sounds crazy. I go back and visit the list and go, okay, this is doable. But if I'm doing that, that's taking a lot of time. Can I also do this? I really play with the list before I finalize the list with the things I want to do. I don't just do one New Year's resolution every year. I have a bunch of things that I want to accomplish in that year. And just like last year, since I'm not training for any particular bicycle event or anything else, I told myself last year that I had to do at least 365 hours of aerobics by the end of the year. That's on top of, working out here in my local gym, doing weightlifting and anything else I might do. And last year, I got to that goal somewhere around late September or something like, I can't really remember. So and I had to make a new goal, 400 hours. I ended up somewhere around 420 some odd hours for the year. So that was a goal worth setting again, right? I didn't go, okay, I did that last year, I'm not going to do that anymore. I said, okay, again, reset 365 hours. That's 1 hour a day. And then life got in the way, and my mother-in-law passed away, and I had to go to a funeral, and I left here on January 1st. Now, before I left on January 1st, I was able to do an hour of aerobics right here in my gym. So first day, I was right on target. As fate would have it, other than taking some walks, I put some of the stuff on my Instagram, other than taking some walks and what have you, which I don't count as aerobic activity. I'm frolicking through the hills of England in the rain. That's not a workout for me. So when I came back, I was back here on the 9th, and on the 9th day of the year, I had exactly 1 hour of aerobics in me. Now, listen, I got another 355 days in a year. I can easily case this up, but who knows when something else is going to happen. So
right. So what do you do? How do you adjust? What's your mindset?
So what I did was I got on the ball. Now today what's the date today, Anna? Let's see here.
The 19th, we're recording this.
The 19th. And on the 19th, I've caught up to, I've done 18 hours of aerobics. So in the last couple of days, now folks, listen, don't try this at home. I'm a guy that if I want to go 2 hours, I've just been getting up earlier, staying up later. If I could do an hour and a half, I do an hour and a half. If I could do an hour and 15, but all of those half an hours and 15 minutes. And one day I did 2 hours and 30 minutes. because I just had some time on my hands. But I make it a point. You see how goals work?
Yep.
I don't have to catch this up, but I know something else is going to get in the way. Right. I know I have travel coming up. There's going to be days missed because of that. So I like to get back on top of what I'm doing. Right. I'm not telling you guys this to brag in any way, shape, or form. I'm trying to give you guys somewhat of a blueprint as to how life works when it comes to doing something that it's so easy to forget. As I always say, no one ever forgets to brush their teeth. No one ever forgets to wipe their ass. Right. We don't have to do either one. Those are just habits. This is a habit like wiping your ass. I know that sounds cruel and crude and everything else, but it just is. And that's the way I like to do it. So when it comes to goal setting, it's not a shame to get knocked down. It's only a shame if you stay down. Yeah. Okay. So don't stay down. Also, Anna, I want to bring, not White Kim, I want to bring Original Kim onto the show, because Anna and I are going to start bringing people onto the show. I can't remember if she tweeted this to me or wrote me a text, but Original Kim is having a little trouble. She's getting bored with lunch. And I said, this is not really a job for me. I need someone like Anna. And Anna, this is not going to be easy for you, because Kim works like, I always say, she reminds me of a Puerto Rican. She's got 3 jobs. Right. So she's got to get portable with her NSNG. Yeah. So can you start thinking, and maybe next show we'll bring Kim on and we'll talk to her and try to get her. Yeah. And let me say, I do have, for a lot of you guys, jump right in feet first, and you get Eat Happy and you get Eat Happy too. And then you get overwhelmed because not everybody, like what I like to do is I like to flip through books and get ideas and put Post-its on things, but not everybody does that. So if you need ideas of how to put the meals together, I have a 31-day meal plan app for free at my site. Just go download it. Yeah. The books are not free, but the meal plan, you can go get a little bonus. Yeah. So, but I put that together, and it's actually a really nice thing that I put together to help inspire those ideas. But that being said, when people are on the go, I would love to do more meal plan talk and help consult with people do it. In fact, I was asked recently, would I do a meal plan consult? I'd rather do it on the show. I don't have a lot of hours during the day. Why can't it be both? I don't know. You don't have the hour. I would like to. I want to help more people let's do that. Let's do that with Kim. I will write to her and see if she's interested in coming on next Thursday. Okay, great. Perfect. We'll make that, because we're supposed to start bringing the Saturday podcast into this show since we're not doing it anymore. And Kim can be one of our first people. I love it. That sounds like a really fabulous idea. Yeah. Would you like me to ask you a question from Carol? Only after I mention this. Okay. Folks, start listening to the Friday show. I've done a couple of interviews this year already. Now, this show is coming out in 2 weeks, so I don't know if it's coming out right before this or right after. But Callie Mead is coming on. Callie Means is coming on to the show. He's been making a lot of waves. That's the guy that everyone is trying to get a hold to right now, because he's the guy that's kind of throwing the veil back. He worked for these industries, and he knows what they're trying to do to steal your good intentions. And people are like, you need to talk to Callie Means. Oh my God, this guy, he was on Corolla. And it's like, yeah, I've known about Callie Means for a bit. So he and I are talking. He's coming on. So you want to hear that Friday show. This might not sound like an interesting guest, but this is one of the most interesting guys I've spoken to in a long time. A guy named Dr. Greg Martin. That's correct. Doc Martin is on the show. He's an expert on birds and eggs. One of the foremost authorities on eggs. I learned more about eggs than and folks, you want to talk about the perfect food and and of course, the only reason I had the guy on was to go, hey, why are eggs fucking $8 a carton? What was going on? We got into some conversation. And he explains it. Let me put it to you this way. This guy was so interesting. I know people are going, come on, eggs, really? This guy was and by the way, Susie Demeester was the one that got me introduced to this guy.
Wait, say his name again, because I'm going to text Scott Merritt because he was just complaining about eggs.
Dr.
Today.
Gregory Morton.
Gregory Martin.
Yeah, M-A-R.
I'm going to tell him to listen to the
Okay.
Friday show with Dr. Gregory Martin.
Yeah, that's coming up in the next week or two. I even asked him, I said, why is it sometimes they're easy to peel and other times they're not easy? He gave me answers. He knew everything there is to know about an egg. You want to hear this. He will tell you why you want to cook them more than not cook, and it has nothing to do with salmonella. We talked about salmonella, and let me put it to you this way. I've been eating raw eggs since I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I will never eat another raw egg. Folks, you got to tune in and listen as to why.
That's juicy for you to be convinced.
We talked about Martha Stewart. We talked about Stallone.
Oh.
We got into stuff on this show that
don't even get me started.
Don't get me started. Listen, you guys are going to love this guy. I also brought this husband and wife team back on a Friday show. One of them is Dr. Laura. I'm going from memory. I don't have any of this. Dr. Laura Buchanan and her husband, Matthew Culkin, spelled just like Macaulay Culkin. These are two young doctors, and they're just out. The careers are beginning right now. As a matter of fact, Matthew is still, doing his residency. And, but Laura, she's been on the show before. They've both been on the show before. They're looking at, this whole problem with obesity and type 2 diabetes and everything else. Another show you don't want to miss on Friday. Folks, I've recorded some great Friday shows.
Amazing.
So it's appointment listening at this point. So
great.
Make sure you don't miss it. You can miss this Monday show because it's just me and Anna shooting the shit about Stallone and Mick Jagger. But you don't want to miss these Friday shows. Go on, Anna.
Carol Fleming wrote me. She writes me on the internet sometimes. Hi, Carol. Hi, Anna. I've been listening to you and Vinnie for a few years now. Thank you, Carol. I never get tired of the two of you. Even better, Carol. Thank you both for what you do. I do have a question. Should you make sure you eat protein right after a workout? I work out in the mornings, but don't usually eat until lunch. I try to stick to a 7-hour eating window. Thank you both again for all you do. Double heart emojis.
Carol. Dunning-Kruger. Does that sound familiar?
Who him?
It's not a him. There's two guys.
Who they?
You don't know. You've never heard of the Dunning-Kruger?
No, I know you've talked about it. It sounds familiar, but I can't remember everything. I just learned about Zone 2 the other day.
It's when a person's lack of knowledge and skills in a certain area cause them to overestimate their own competence, Anna.
Oh,
that's
pretty much me in all walks of life.
But this, more than you, it is the Dunning-Kruger effect. Bro science is basically the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Okay.
It's people who think they know just enough to hang themselves. That's what that statement means. I'm going to say it again. The Dunning-Kruger effect occurs when a person's lack of knowledge and skills in a certain area, say fitness and diet, cause them to overestimate their own competence. Bro science is the Dunning-Kruger effect in real life. So one of the biggest bro science things that they say, well, I'm going to say a couple. Okay. One is, oh, okay, bro, here's the deal. You want to put muscle on? Okay. You need to take, and this is where the number gets a little shady. You need to take at least 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass.
Right. And here's how you calculate.
Sometimes they'll go 1.5 grams. Sometimes they'll say 2, and I've heard as much as 2.5 grams.
Wow. 2.5 seems excessive.
1 is excessive. So, okay, I weigh right now 175 pounds.
Okay.
I'm guessing my complete lean, and you know what I look like without a shirt on, right, Anna?
Yeah. You don't have a high amount of body fat.
No, I don't have it's. I'm walking around with like a 12-pack at my age. So my lean body mass is probably 152 to 155. So even at my leanness,
That would be a
body-
tremendous amount of protein.
that's 100. If you take the one, like just do one.
Right. That's 152. Let's say 150 to call it even.
155 grams of protein per day. I don't get anywhere near that, nor should you.
And you eat
a lot
of protein.
I eat steak every day. I eat ground beef. I eat eggs. Like they're going out of style. And I can't get to that number.
Right.
Right. The only way to get to that number is to take a lot of protein powder, which I don't recommend. And other, you got to just keep jamming it in. And that's when people start getting fat, because the protein through gluconeogenesis turns to fat and gets stored that way. It turns to sugar, and the sugar gets stored as a long chain triglyceride. So too much protein is not a good thing. So that whole thing was created back in the 70s by powdered protein companies
there it is,
to get people to take their, oh, how do I get more protein in without eating all this stuff? Oh, wait, I could just take this product. And number two, we have to create an urgency, right?
I was going to say, they want you to eat more of their things. They're trying to sell you something.
Number one, they come up with this one gram per pound of lean body mass, which is bullshit. And then on top of that,
kind of brilliant.
They go, you know what? We really have to create urgency. Now we have something called scarcity heuristics, where they'll go, hey, buy it now or it's gone forever. You see it online every day. That's called a scarcity heuristic. This is the old version of it. You got to create an urgency. So you tell people, listen, bring the stuff to the gym with you, because there's this window of opportunity. It only lasts for a half an hour, and then it shuts itself off magically. Does any of this sound like bullshit to anyone? Because it's bullshit.
It reminds me of
actually exists.
It reminds me of the grapeseed oil people coming out with the campaign in the 90s to say that the olive oil smoke point is too low and it's carcinogenic, which is not true.
Exactly.
And by the way, do you know what's sweeping the nation right now on TikTok is people popping popcorn in butter, which has the lowest smoke point, and the popcorn always burns on the TikTok. And I'm like,
right.
What? That's why you're supposed to fry popcorn. I mean, we're not having popcorn, but I'm just saying, like, this makes no sense. People are freaking out, but they'll also be like, I can't have olive oil because the smoke point's too low. And it's like, no, it's not.
I hear that all the time.
It's not true.
It drives me nuts.
Or the other one that you said about, is it CW Postum? Who's that guy?
Postum. CW Post is Postum.
CW Post, who said, don't have coffee. It'll stunt your growth, because he's trying to sell cereal and trying to keep people from having coffee.
It will make you dumb. That was part of it. It will stunt your growth.
It's literally the opposite.
Yeah. And, so that was CW Post trying to sell Postum. And the way these guys used to do it is they would get their industrialist buddies who own newspapers to print this stuff. That's how people got news back in the day.
Right.
There was no internet. So they would just get someone to print this stuff, and there was no studies or anything done. It's just CW Post. It's the same thing that Kellogg did. They went, hey, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. It was at a time in this country where a lot of people did not eat breakfast.
I was a kid in the 70s and 80s, and it was still very common. You don't have coffee, it'll stunt your growth.
Oh, yeah.
You heard that all the time when I was a kid.
Look, the nuns told me don't masturbate. You'll grow hair on your palms. Look, there's still nothing. Look at that. Look at that.
And ladies and sisters, listen.
Yeah.
He has tried his hardest.
I worked hard to get hair on my palms. And I mean, look at these forearms. You don't get these just so, right? That's a lot of work to get those.
Those are his whack off Popeye forearms.
That's right. One of them is.
One of them
right
is.
one.
Well, he's very imbalanced.
I don't go strange.
You don't do the stranger?
No, I don't go strange. Not in my.
So bring it back to Carol's. Does she need to have protein right after she eats?
No. There's no window that shuts down. As a matter of fact, I can make, I can probably bring Jason Fung in here and say, no, the autophagy is actually better for you to wait a few hours. There is no weird window. Look, I go to a gym in town. I see people walk. They got the thing. They're shaking it. They're drinking it beforehand. They
got to refeed,
in the middle
bro.
of a workout. Got to refeed during the workout, bro. And they do a set of squats. They got to take another hit off of it. When they leave there, they're taking another hit. It's all bullshit. It's just all
Seems like
bullshit.
that would be more. It seems like that would be more taxing to your kidneys than any sort of just
We're
regular
not
low carb
supposed to
diet.
be eating
But
all of that stuff.
I know.
You know?
But the thing is, you guys, when we started this podcast, I didn't know what refeed meant. And then when Vinny was like, it just means eating. And I was like, well, just say the word eating. Like, why are you saying refeed? That
Yeah,
makes no
refeed.
sense.
Yeah,
Like, to
it's like
refeed.
I'm refeeding.
Or they would say postprandial, like, but not doctors saying postprandial,
Right.
just bros going, well, postprandial, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, just say after you ate, like just say eating and then after you eat. That's all you have to say.
Can I say one of my favorites that the bro science
Yeah.
guys use?
Yeah.
I think they're still using this one. Bolus.
And doesn't that just mean a little nugget? Like eat a little nugget of cheese, like a bolus of cheese, like a serving?
All right, let me explain in the medical world what bolus means. Like if a nurse is gonna, sometimes they'll put they'll draw into a syringe to give you
two
a
different
shot.
things.
That's bolusing. They're preparing it ahead of time. It's called bolusing. And sometimes they might put 2 drugs in the same needle so they can pump it. That's bolusing. All right. That's what bolus.
So what does it mean in the like, what are they putting together?
Putting some.
Are they compounding?
Literally putting some chicken salad in a bowl or some kind of drink.
What?
That's the
what
of. Yeah. They're
bolusing chicken salad.
What
a douche.
This is my bolus of protein, bro. Look, I can't make this stuff up.
That's so stupid.
I cannot make this shit up.
Just say you're enjoying a nice chicken salad for lunch. You can say that. If you're man enough,
protein. It's not a bolus of protein. It's fucking chicken salad.
If you're man enough to eat a chicken salad, say I'm man enough to enjoy this luncheon for chicken salad.
Last night, Serena had a good bolus of meatballs for me. I bolus the fuck out of that stuff, Anna.
I really think they're bastardizing the use of that word, but okay.
All right, Anna, look up the word bolus. I want to get the definition. Let me see if let me see if I can find it before you.
Is it BOLUS? A small rounded mass of a substance, especially of chewed food at the moment of swallowing.
Okay, that's what a bolus is.
Gross.
Okay, so they're talking about a bolus of.
So they're talking about post-masticated, pre-swallowed food.
But I do know that they call shots and syringes. Yeah. They bolusing a shot. Okay. I know that people do that. Type 1 diabetics do that. They'll bolus a shot to make sure that like if they're going to a birthday party or something where they might get too much sugar and they need to cover.
Right.
I've heard people tell me. I'm not saying they all do that, folks. I'm just telling you that I've heard people talk about that and that sort of thing.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. Let's do a Villa Cappelli ad, and then I'm going to do a recap of food trends from the Fancy Food Show.
Okay.
Because I'm very curious to hear your take on everything.
Last night when I was talking to Doc Martin, and I started talking about Villa Cappelli, I had to do the live read during the show. I've never seen anyone nod their head so hard when it comes to olive oil.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. And at the end of the show, he goes, can you give me that name again? And he jotted it down. This is one of the foremost authorities on eggs. He's going to get himself some Villa Cappelli.
Hell yeah.
That's how good this stuff is. And he knew about, because he's ear to the ground. This guy is total ear to the ground. Right. And he was like, oh yeah, the 40%, you could cut it up to 40% in the United States.
That's disgusting.
And still call it 100% pure olive oil. And he knew about all that stuff. And so
by the way, I had a number of olive oil guys come by the booth. We're like, who does your oil? I was like, I got it. It's Villa Cappelli. They're like, where are they? And I was like, Puglia. And they're like, oh. like it just shut them down right away because they were expecting like that I use some crap oil. I'm like, please, bitch, please. I am on my game. I am on my olive oil game, and you guys should be too. Go to villacappelli.com, place your order, and use the discount code Vinnie, VINNIE, not the Vinnie with a wimpy Y, VINNIE. You'll get 10% off your order each and every time. Vinnie and I always say, make the order a little bit bigger, like well enough over $100 so that when you use the discount code, it brings the price down, but not enough so you still get the free shipping. You know what I'm saying?
$125, right? Free shipping.
Let me look.
I thought it was $125. So you would have to
changed it recently, so I want to make sure I know.
Yes, see where it is.
Oil. He's doing $10 flat shipping in the continental US on orders over 55 and free shipping on orders over 125.
Yeah, so it's 125. So
Yeah.
you would have to spend about 145, and you're going, that's a lot of money. Folks, once you have 3 liters of olive oil,
Yeah.
you're set for a long time. If
Yeah.
you went and bought that kind of olive oil in this country, you would spend well over $200.
And Vinny and I have gone into detail about all these new kind of bougie olive oils that are coming up, and Villa Capelli is incredibly reasonably priced. Really good for that level of olive oil. And you'll taste the difference. It's wonderful. So I remember that you talked about when you were at Expo West. So I did the fancy food show. So the fancy food show is, I don't know why they call it the fancy food show. It's put on by the Specialty Food Association. So you have to be a member of that. It's for usually like super premium brands making nice products, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
For the most part, I guess, we're members of the Specialty Food Association, and then you go do these shows. So now we've done the one in New York in the summer. We've done the Vegas one. And sorry, Michelle Fusco, I missed you in Vegas. So a couple of trends. Of course, plant-based is still really big.
Well, it's going to always be big.
It's going to really be big. Remember when you saw plant-based tuna?
Yeah.
Guess what they have now? Plant-based, wait for it, calamari.
Oh no, I
was like, nope. I literally couldn't run away from it fast enough. And people in the booth are so sweet, and these people are so nice, and they're really they're doing what I'm doing. They're doing what you're doing, trying to build their business, trying to make connections, trying to meet buyers and distributors and manufacturers and support staff and things like that who can help them grow their business. And I was literally like, plant-based calamari, hard pass. I never even want to have that thought ever again, but I had to share it with you guys because I can't live with that
what was
knowledge by myself.
I need to know what that one was made of.
I had to run. I couldn't. I'll find out.
Was it reimagined? Because every one of those things is like calamari.
Reimagined.
Everything is reimagined in the plant-based world.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I had a number of conversations with press people, which was really great. And I think for the most part, even the press are kind of coming around to clean ingredients and cleaning stuff up. And the companies aren't necessarily doing that. The food companies.
Right.
Now, a lot of these companies at the Specialty Food Association are indie companies like ours, who are putting a little more of that effort behind it. But it was interesting, even talking through, like, I talked to a bunch of different suppliers and distributors, and everybody knows Justin, Justin's Nut Butters.
Right.
And everybody knows, I'm trying to think of who else made a big exit, but is trying to protect their formulas. But ultimately, things are going to get bastardized.
Yeah. That's what happens when you sell.
That's what happens when you sell. And this is not to say that I won't sell. I would love to sell, but I want to put the thing in that says I'm going to guard the formulas. So a thing that I noticed is keto is also still really popular. In fact, so this is an international show. So there's an Italian pavilion, Japanese pavilion, all these different countries and continents are represented. Yeah. And so we actually had some Asian buyers come by, and they were like, why don't you have keto? Like, is it keto? And I was like, I mean, I'm a low carb cookbook author. So yes, my stuff is keto. Nothing has sugar in it. And they're like, well, it doesn't say keto friendly or keto certified. That's what they said to me. And I was like, yeah. I was like, well, that's not a real thing.
You can actually put that on there.
I could go through the effort of doing that. And maybe one day I will. Maybe I'll come to my senses. Maybe I'll get more sales because of it. Yeah, but right now I'm irritated by it.
But because no one's certifying anything. You could put keto certified on a bowl of sugar, as I tell everyone.
Right.
No one certified.
Well, on that note, allulose and all the fake sweeteners were rampant. So whenever there was sugar-free, no sugar added, everything.
Yeah.
Electrolyte drinks, cookies, crackers, breads, teas, like you name it. It was in there. Yeah. And it was all allulose, the talls, the erythritol, the malitol, the monk fruit, all that stuff. And so the other thing that I noticed, and we know this because we see it in the grocery store, because we talk about the keto explosion at the grocery store.
Right.
Even more keto friendly, and I'm using air quotes, keto friendly foods that are loaded with sugar and grains. One of them had brown sugar in it. Like another one had, wheat flour. Cause I was like, it's keto, but it's gluten-free. And they were like, no. I was like, well, it's like that Venn diagram. You know what I mean? You know how there's a circle and the circle's gluten-free. And then keto would be inside of that circle as its own smaller circle.
Yeah.
Right. So the keto has to be gluten-free in order for it to be keto. Right? Am I wrong on this?
No.
Okay.
Keto doesn't have to be gluten-free.
Well, not according to these companies.
Because that's what I'm always trying to explain to people. They're making this stuff up whole cloth.
So no sugar and no sugar added, no added sugars, all variations of that phrase.
Right.
Were very popular and on the signage and on the things. And a lot of buyers, because I figured out to start saying, when people walk by, if you don't say something to them, they don't really want to stop. Because there's so much food being handed out and people are full by like noon, So
it's crazy. We had the same
crazy.
thing at the expo we went to.
Your show was 3 times the size of this show. So I can't even imagine. So I figured out early on that I hold the tray of the samples and I say, would you like to try some no sugar added marinara? When I say that, they stop.
Right.
Because it's still so rare in the world that those two things are put together, which is crazy to me. There was a sugar-free electrolyte drink that had so much sugar. I did not taste it. Matt and Todd did. I smelled it and I wanted to puke. And by sugar, I mean it had allulose, stevia, and monk fruit. I can only imagine how quickly you would shit your pants if you drank this thing.
Anna, what was that thing I ate on the air a while back? I took one bite.
Keto convention?
No.
The Quest bar. You had the Quest bar.
I could not, for the life of me, because I don't ever taste any of this stuff. For the life of me, I could not understand how any human, because I'm always just eating real food, fresh food, as you are.
Right.
And when I tasted it tasted like chemicals to me. Like it
does.
I couldn't finish a bite, folks. If you didn't hear that show or see that show, I could not finish a whole bite.
By the way, they're still making all of these products, innovating all of these products. And I got to say, they have packaging. They really dialed in the packaging in the sense that like they're pastel colors and bright colors and smooth, like you want to pick up the package, and really appealing to kids and to moms to put the things in the lunch boxes. Right. And it's really just like, no, don't do it. Like, it's like, but they're really working hard to like have that sensory experience when you see that packaging, like that vellum finish on the like a cookie bar or brownie bar or whatever, keto cookie or keto brownie bar, and you're like, don't do it. But these drinks too, beautiful packaging, beautiful branding. The booth was gorgeous. They had these like really fit bros selling the electrolyte drinks that were purple and bright green and bright blue, and Matt and Todd got one and they were both like, oh my God, this is so gross. And I was like, you guys, just get Vinnie's ultra salts, you dum-dums.
Yeah.
How many times do I have to tell you?
You mean ultra fats?
No. They wanted a drink.
Oh,
they wanted your ultra
electrolyte
salts.
drink. Yeah.
They want an electrolyte drink.
Yeah.
No, definitely your ultra fats. By the way, that's what I had for breakfast every single day in Vegas.
Yeah.
Because
works like a charm, doesn't it?
I'm not going to wait in a buffet line. So gluten-free still very popular, but it's all carbs. I mean, it's just all carbs. Yeah. So if you say gluten-free, and then the last observation I wanted to make, and this speaks to you guys checking your labels, because there were so many sauces. And I know the nature of shows like this are going to be shelf stable food. So there's going to be sauces, my sauce, buffalo wing sauce and Worcestershire sauce, and you name it, any kind of sauce, Asian flavored sauces, this kind of sauce. There's so many sauces. I'm telling you, every single one of the sauces had food starch, potato starch, corn starch, brown rice or whatever, thickeners, corn syrup or corn solids. Just read your labels or make your own sauce. That's it.
I want to give a quick shout out to, if anyone remembers, my buddy, Peter Pardini, who, he worked with me on my first movie. He and his wife, Kate, brought into the world a beautiful baby girl. I will not mention the name because I didn't, I was just looking, I didn't get permission from him, so I'm not going to mention the name.
Congratulations, baby Pardini.
Yeah, but there's a little tiny Pardini running around now. I don't think she's running yet because she's only a couple of days old.
She might be.
But knowing Peter's daughter, it will be happening. So congratulations to Peter. That first movie would not have been the success it was. And everything, you know, even though Peter doesn't work on the movies anymore, trust me, the reason they look so good is because whenever I'm stuck on anything, I call him and he talks me through things. So
yep.
Love that guy to death. Love Kate. Went to their wedding and now they have a beautiful bouncing baby girl. I wanted to say that before I get into this little short rant right here at the end of the show. I'm getting my CAC score done again. Every year, you know, because every year I just go in.
You do it every year?
Well, I go in for blood. I do this. I do everything. I want to, you know, I'm at 0. I want to see if I'm still at 0. It's that simple. I just, you know, all of these eggs I eat and all of this meat I eat and everything I've been doing for all of these years, I just like to keep showing that, hey, it has nothing to do with clogging of any arteries. And I was talking to Debbie about this earlier, and she goes, insurance doesn't pay for that, does it? And I said, no, you're right, it doesn't. But it's $150. Some hospitals is 120.
That's what mine was, 150.
Sometimes I've heard people tell me it's upwards of 180, but insurance won't pay for it. And people always go, oh, I got to come out of pocket. Yes, it's for your health, folks. That's the equivalent of a tank and a half of gas nowadays. I know that's true. For your health. And it's an easy thing to do. Don't stand on ceremony and go, well, if my insurance won't pay, I won't do it. You can just pull it out of your pocket and go do it. It's a simple thing to do and an easy thing to do. To know, you know, people don't think twice when they go, well, my doctor told me to take a statin. Really? Did your doctor do a CAC test? Do you know if you even need a statin? Because that would tell you more than a cholesterol score, especially since most doctors don't do the particle test or know if that, you know, if you're, I'm losing my thought here, but they don't do the right test for the particle test and everything else. And they'll just go, oh, your cholesterol's a little high. Here's a statin. It makes 0 sense. This is something you can do. You could take your health into your own hands and really know what's going on. And I think the reason that insurance companies won't pay for it is because they're literally, and this is going to make me sound like I have a tinfoil hat. I get it. They're trying to keep people in the dark about their own health. Hey, don't look at the man behind the curtain. Don't figure out if you have any blockage. Just go take the statin, right? We said that this number is high over here. Don't look at anything else. Just go take a statin. Same thing with the CGM. You go to Europe, anybody can get a CGM.
Not here.
You need
I got to pay $300 for a 2-week CGM.
Yeah, and you got to get a prescription. They make it impossible. Why? That's
right.
Because when people, if everyone started taking their health into their own hand and figured out, oh, wait, I don't have to be on metformin and Ozempic and all these other drugs because I have the CGM on me now and I can see how to keep my own blood sugar low. By the way, I'm very proud of my youngest brother, Mark, is the guy I'm always thinking of whenever I'm yelling into this mic. Mark was on every drug you can imagine. He's down to like 1, maybe 2 drugs now. And he's also lost about 40 or 50 pounds. He's got a lot more weight to lose. He's got another 100 pounds to lose.
But that's amazing.
But he no longer is type 2 diabetic. And he was telling me, he goes, yeah, when I became type 2 diabetic, he also at 52 years old, he's got stents, right? So, you know, he fucked himself up pretty good. But he started getting his health back into range. And his A1Cs now are below 5.6. I think they're 5.4, if I remember. I could be off, but I think he's not. This is a guy that was like 8 and 9, right?
Wow.
And now his blood sugars, his A1Cs are below. I did not tell him to. I said, listen, don't titrate off of these drugs yourself. Let your doctor take you off.
Right.
He started taking himself off. I did not agree with that.
Right. But I actually really would advise you guys to please work with your doctor.
Go through your doctor. But, you know, he survived it. And his doctor looked at it and went, hey, I can start taking you off of some of these drugs because you're not type 2 diabetic anymore. And Mark was like,
Good.
done and dusted. I've already done it. It's already done. You see, the CGM machine, the CAC, this is knowledge that you can have about your own body, folks.
Can I tell my quick story with this stuff?
Absolutely.
Because I want to, hopefully it'll give people permission to ask questions of their providers. So I am one of the people whose cholesterol went up when I did NSNG. It was always below 200.
Right.
Right. And this happens to people and people freak out. And so I followed the advice that we give on this podcast, which is to take the advanced lipid panel test. So I take that, and sure enough, the small particles are high. Large, dense, fluffy, medium, fine, those are all fine, but the small particles are high.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I have another marker in my blood, which is another reason why we say not just get the CBC, get your complete blood count and every sort of marker you can.
Right.
Try to get the cardio panel, try to get your hormonal panel, try to do the thing where you pee and they draw the blood.
Right.
And try to do it as often as you can that's reasonable so you can check a baseline. So then also in 2017, I did my first CAC calcium score test and it was a 0. But I have this one marker on the cardio panel that's a marker for heart disease in women. And oftentimes is a hereditary thing. So I have the high small particle LDL. I have the marker on my thing, but I have a 0 on my CAC calcium score test in 2017. And so what I talked to my doctor about is I tell them, I really don't want to go on a statin. I like eating this way. And by the way, I'm telling you the story so that you know that you have options. If your if your cholesterol comes back, you're not going to right this instant. So talk to them about what you can do. So my doctor said, I tell you what we can do? Your calcium score was 0. What we will do is once a year, we will ultrasound your carotid, your popliteal, and your femoral arteries. And we will see if you have any buildup in there. So once a year, we do that. There is no buildup in there. So I have made the choice to say, you know what? We're looking inside my body. It is what it is.
There's
so
no
far,
blockage.
so good.
You see, that's the thing.
But then I go for another calcium score test, which I talked about a couple weeks ago. Still a 0.
Yeah. So
and my cholesterol still comes back at like 201 or 202. And my doctor just goes, that's just what you do. Now that's my own situation. I'm not giving this as medical advice, but maybe it'll help you ask questions, be like, hey, what can we do? Can we get the advanced lipid panel? But some doctors don't even know that test exists.
Oh yeah. They're out in the weeds on that. And by the way, Anna, stay away from buses because you're more likely to get hit by a bus.
I know.
Than having a heart attack. So
yeah.
My advice to you, stay away from buses. Folks, go check out everything Anna Vocino is doing because last night, I'm going to eat more of that tonight, 2 nights in a row. I'm going to get, we got the puttanesca, we did this big thing, all the cheese in there, and we got all the meatballs. I'm going to have that 2 nights in a row. So go check out Eat Happy Kitchen.
I got a chicken parm soup here. I have to toot my own horn for a second.
Yeah,
so I was at the Fancy Food Show, and the first night of the Fancy Food Show, my book draft was due. So I turned in 102 recipes and a lot of photos to go with them for my 3rd book. It's at the publisher. I'm really proud of myself for finishing a draft of a book.
And I want to tell you, go on.
No, I'm just saying I don't know how long it's going to take for them to have it ready. It'll probably be a while, but low carb Italian, eat happy, low carb Italian. Many shout outs to my Italian brother, Vinnie Tortorich.
Yeah. It's just you and me, baby. We're in this.
Yeah. We're in this together. We're deep.
I am working on a Mexican meatball soup.
Oh, great. It's called a bondiga soup. And I have a recipe for that in the first book, by the way. So if you need that, you can just do that.
One night everybody was doing Mexican. So I was like, and they were bringing it to the house and I didn't see anything else on the menu. I was looking at the menu online and, they have a meatball soup and I 2 big giant meatballs in there. And I went, get me that. So they did. And I ate it, but it had,
Flour or rice and
Flour. Yeah,
meatballs.
no, they did.
Yeah.
I think they did, you know, the breadcrumbs or whatever, like my grandmother
Mhm.
used to do. And I went, okay, I ate it because it was there. I wasn't going to waste it. Cow had to die. I'm going to eat this. And I've been thinking about that soup because the flavor on it was so good. And I started thinking about your taco seasoning and adding a little extra cumin. And then I asked Serena, how do I make this broth? How do I get this?
Yep.
So I'm working on, when I say I'm working on, Serena's helping me work on.
By the way, that's one of my most popular recipes in the first book is a bondigas soup. So if you
Really?
need a, it's
So
in there. And just, and if you added a little taco seasoning, it'd be awesome.
I'm going to go to your book and just pull it out and use it.
Yeah, it's really good. It's simple to make too.
So folks, check out everything over at Eat Happy Kitchen because it never ends. People go, do you ever get bored eating like this? No, not with Eat Happy Kitchen and not with the Eat Happy Cookbooks 1 and 2. You don't get bored.
I'm now up to like 600 recipes.
And that's a recipe that's in that book that I didn't even know was in there.
Right.
And I have the book.
When people tell me they're bored, I'm like, go back and flip through the book because I wrote 2 books with over 150 recipes in them. Like I did. If one thing I learned is I should have written only 100 recipes per book because then I would have 3 books out right now and not 2 books. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I wanted to give a little lagniappe, as you call it. Like,
lagniappe. You weren't thinking, Anna, but
no, I wasn't.
As you go down the road, write a book.
No, this next book is going to be only 100 recipes. I'm done with the 150. I learned.
So there you have it. And with me, folks, you know what to do. We all go shopping on Amazon. Before you go there, go to VinnieTortorich.com, click through the banner. It puts coal on the fire, gets my train down the track, and I'm able to keep the show free for a gazillion years in a row. We also have the Superfan page and the Nickel and Diming You PDF is where I nickel and dime you, but you get way more. It's an ebook. It's the NSNG ebook. So go check it out.
Debbie gets real upset when you say PDF.
I call it the Nickel and Diming You PDF.
Yeah.
It's an ebook. It's the NSNG ebook. So go check all